Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Meet the Leaders. And in this case, we're talking about municipal leaders. Hi, I'm David Smith. Good to have you along with us today, and great to have First Selectman of the town of Greenwich, Peter Tesei, as our guest. And Peter, it's great to see you. How are you?
Well, thank you. Good to see you too, David.
We get together with some degree of regularity, and it has been a few years that you have been sitting in the big chair there.
Yes, I'm honored to continue to serve the town, now going into my 12th year as the town's first selectman. And it's really been a tremendous experience. We've been through some very difficult and challenging times, and we've had some great joys and successes. And so I'm very pleased with the community and the support that I've received from it, and also our citizenry, the volunteers that make Greenwich so special. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't enjoy the fine reputation we do.
Well, and Greenwich does have an outpouring of volunteerism. It really is heartening. It's an inspiration for any town, anywhere, to take a look at. Greenwich is a very, very large town, I guess the largest town in Connecticut. And why is it a town still, as opposed to a city?
The governance structure is Selectman town meeting. It's one that over the years people have toyed about changing, and there has been reluctance to do so. Coming into the 21st century, and having been in that position now in the front office for 12 years, you can see why a more centralized system may be more efficient. I think the trade-off would be you'd have less citizen engagement. And I think that citizen engagement is what people are reluctant to give up, because it gives really anyone who wishes a chance to really partake, either through serving on our representative town meeting, which is 230 folks, or on a town board or commission. So if we were to centralize to, say, a mayor council, you would reduce the number of people who would be able to participate, but perhaps make it more efficient and ease of process and approval. So it requires a lot of patience in consensus building to achieve outcomes, but in some sense, that's why I think the town has enjoyed such a great standard in its finance, in its overall outcomes.
Well, when you talk efficiency, now maybe you're talking about efficiency of as you suggest, 231 people in the town meeting. That's one thing. But when it comes to financial efficiencies, Greenwich is only second to one in the state, with just an incredibly efficient mill rate and tax base.
Yes, I just read in the news today that the rating agencies have downgraded Westchester County, their bond rating.
Yeah.
And that, to me, speaks to the problems that they face, which are an inordinate high number of post-employment liabilities, high taxes, and people fleeing because of the high taxes. We've been very consistent in trying to balance that by limiting the amount of debt, limiting the duration of that debt, and trying to control expenditures in our operating budget. And I think that's the pressure all governmental entities are facing in this state, but particularly for us, we're trying to really hold that, because that's a value that people look at when they choose to locate there, is the value proposition. So that's something that we have to continually pay attention to and make some choices. Now, we just got through completing our third citizen satisfaction survey, done every 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And the results are based upon consistent questions asked each of the prior 2 cycles. And
Such as?
How do you rate the emergency services, police and fire? How do you rate the public education? How do you rate land use and regulatory agencies? If we were to have to cut services, how do you think it should be done? Should it be across the board, or should it be targeted? What is the value you get for your tax dollar? So over the cycle of doing the third one, there's been incremental improvement each year in terms of people's satisfaction with public education, with life safety. Greenwich has been rated one of the safest communities in America. And even an improvement in those regulatory areas when people have to go for that building permit,
right,
or wetlands approval. That's shown increasing improvement. But that's a way we measure ourselves and how we're doing, but also if we have to make choices in terms of where to reduce, what guidance there is. And the guidance is interestingly not, it's not stark in terms of across the board. The responses were somewhat mixed in terms, some folks say, reduce across the board, and some say no, do it in a targeted manner. And I think, in my personal view, life safety comes first. You don't want to compromise that.
Sure.
Public education certainly comes first too. That's right up there. And then there's those issues of public amenities, which Greenwich residents.
Everybody's got their favorites, obviously, in that case.
And that's where I think you could argue it's a discretionary service. The various recreational programs and things. But how much is that going to offset increases if we were to reduce it? And so there's a balance. Some of it would be program fees. Looking at that, people contribute a portion of the revenue to that. But that's where we expect public input. And we'll be having a public hearing, one of the first on the budget on December 18th at 6 p.m. in the Cone Room, specifically on the capital budget for the town and schools.
Yeah.
And I would encourage folks to come out and express their views on not only the specific projects, but generally on what they want to see in terms of expenditure. That's the real first point in the 2019-20 budget process where people can voice their views.
And there will be many others to follow, you know that. But the satisfaction scenario is a very positive one, because I dare say you'd be hard put to find 3 cycles in a row of positivism getting better and better and better in too many areas, certainly in the state. So congratulations on that. That's really wonderful. A lot of work still to be done. Not made up your mind whether you're going to run again?
I have said recently that I will make a final decision in February.
Okay.
When I was asked at the State of the Town, of course, I said on that day, if you're asking me today, yes, I'd like what I do. But it's a big decision. It's one that involves family and lifestyle. It's a job that you are on 24/7. And having done it now 11 going on 12 years, I've enjoyed every minute of it. But it has to be really balanced for me personally with my family and where I see our family's needs. And so I'll make a final decision in February. Whatever that decision is, I will be resolute with it and know that it's been a great experience to engage with the people in our community. They're wonderful people. They've given me so much opportunity, enjoy, and it's something that I will take with me for the rest of my life.
Well, and your experience certainly will give you the best modus for making that choice going forward. There's no question about it. Hey, really great to see you. Congratulations on all that has happened, and we'll watch with great interest what is coming up for you and Greenwich to come. Appreciate your stopping by.
Great, thank you very much.
Great to see you.
Happy holidays to you.
And to you, and to you. First Selectman Peter Tesei of the town of Greenwich on this edition of Meet the Leaders, and I'm David Smith.